Entitled boss cited the contract, so I used it against him. This happened some years ago, when I had just gotten hired for a part-time position in a retail store. All was good until summer got close, and he offered me full-time work for the summer, which I gladly took. Less than 2 weeks into the summer, he changed my hours back to part-time. I hadn't thought about getting the temporary full-time agreement in writing, as he seemed like a trustworthy guy. It made no sense, since I did a good job and helped out with things my contract didn't mention whenever I had the time, because I get bored quickly. I found out that even though he had years of experience in the field, he had massively overspent on the wage bill and had to cut hours to avoid getting fired by the head office. When I voiced my concern, his only response was, "I'm only obliged to give you 20 hours a week, as the contract states." I wanted to chew him out verbally, but I kept my cool and decided that if he wanted to play that game, I would too. When I got home that night, I read my entire contract and noted the clauses that I could use. One clause stated that my responsibilities were unloading the trucks, taking care of the stockroom, and keeping the shelves stocked. Another mentioned that I shouldn't do other tasks, as their insurance only covered me for the specific areas I was meant to work. The next day, he told me to help out the cashiers because the lines were long. Sorry, can't do. As the contract states, that isn't part of my job and I should refrain from doing that. You can find it in my contract as clauses 9 and 9b. He was fuming. His face was totally red, and he just walked away without saying a word. Another thing I noticed in my contract was that besides my 30-minute lunch break, I had a 10-minute break I could take whenever I wanted. So I gave him 5 minutes notice, walked into his office, and told him I was taking my 10-minute break. "What are you talking about? You only have one break, and that's for lunch," he said. "My contract says otherwise. It's in clause 10, I replied. When I got back from the break, he asked me to clean something up out in the store. I couldn't believe he couldn't take a hint. "Sorry, can't do. Clauses 9 and 9b prevent me from doing it." The next day, a customer asked for help with something. "Sorry, can't do. It's not my job. Find someone else." My boss heard about this and yelled at me, but I managed to stay calm and answered with the clauses that prevented me from helping the customer. Legally, I was in the right, and he couldn't do anything, but I could see the hatred in his eyes. I was still on a trial period, which meant he could fire me with only 24 hours notice, but I could also resign with only 24 hours notice. I knew that once summer ended and everyone was back from their vacations, he would fire me right away. I had started looking for other jobs, and it was going okay, so I decided to quit at the worst time possible when it showed itself. In the last week of summer, he had to fire one employee and suspend another for stealing from the store. It was the perfect time to quit and leave him badly undermanned for the week. 24 hours and 1 minute before my next shift, I sent him my resignation. Then I sent a message to my coworkers, telling them to remember to take all their breaks and not violate their contracts by doing stuff they weren't allowed to do. I heard it caused a little chaos when people followed my advice.